What are the signs to show that a person has a spiritual husband? How do you know that you have a spiritual husband? So we are in the chapter 2 of the book. How do I know if I have a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife? Number one, the first sign: constant or irregular sexual relationship or intercourse with a known or unknown persons with the same or different faces in the dream. Sometimes the spirit husband may appear physically only to be seen by their victim, and after having sexual intercourse with them, they will disappear into the spiritual realm. So when you have sexual intercourse with known or unknown person that have different faces in the dream, it means you have a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife. Sometimes ago, a man came to my place, and he watched one of my videos when I preached about spiritual husband and spiritual wife, and he was happy, very happy. He said, thank God I came here today, I'm liberated. Do you know that one of my friends has a spiritual husband, spiritual wife, and that my friend is a prayer warrior? He said that my friend prays a lot. He's the one that leads prayer in his church, and he has made up his mind that he's not going to marry. And when they asked him, he said because he has a wife that usually appears to him to have sexual relationship with him. So there's no need for him to have a husband in the earth, in the physical world. You can just imagine a spirit will come to have sexual relationship with a Christian who pray because of foundational error. So we'll be talking about why a Christian can have a spiritual husband. Can a Christian have a spiritual husband? Yes. Many Christians have a spiritual husband. Ladies Christian. Many Christian wives have a spiritual husband. A pastor can have a spiritual wife without knowing. So from here, you will know what can open the door of access of a spiritual wife or husband to the life of any person. So if you are having sexual relationship with a man or a woman that you know or you do not know, regular sexual relationship in the dream, it means you have a spiritual husband. Number two, having sexual intercourse with an invisible being or sensing an invisible presence arousing you sexually in the dream, which often lead to strange sexual excitation, ejaculation, bleeding, unusual menstruation, or bedwetting. When you dream and you find yourself feeling that somebody is having sexual with you. Now this time around, you are not seeing anyone, but you know that in the night you just feel that a presence came. You only felt a presence who has sexual intercourse with you, and after the person has left you, or even during the process of having that sexual relationship, you are feeling excitement. You discover that you are feeling excitement, especially in your sexual in your reproductive organ, in your genital organ, and you are feeling a kind of sexual pleasure and feeling, despite the fact that you do not see anyone. It means you have a spiritual husband. Sometimes it may lead to bleeding. Blood can come out. Sometimes if you are a man, your sperm will jump out of your body. It means you have a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife that is harassing your life. Number three, constant miscarriage. When you start having miscarriage, you are pregnant, you lost your child, you are pregnant, you lost your child, is a sign that you have a spiritual husband in your life. Swimming, inordinate playing or dancing with a strange man or a woman in the dream. When you are swimming, always swimming in the sea with a strange man or with a strange woman, or you find yourself inside the sea playing with a woman, or you are a man, you are always playing with a beautiful girl inside the sea, you have a spiritual husband, you have a spiritual wife. Number five, having dream of strange being having sexual relationship together, or seeing a strange being with giant male organ trying to molest or abuse you in the dream. Now when you always dream that you always see strange being having sex together, you see men and women having sex together in the dream, you always see them and you will enjoy it, but it's not, you are not the one doing it, you just see them having it, sexual relationship, you are enjoying it. Or you see a man with a giant male organ come and harass you sexually in the dream. It means you have a spiritual husband. It means you have a spiritual husband. Number six, when you find yourself always getting married in the dream with the same man or with different men, then you have a spiritual husband. This applies to men also. When you find yourself you are always out getting married, or sometimes you find yourself getting married with different kinds of women, or you are a woman, you always find yourself getting married with different kind of men in your dream. You have a spiritual husband that you need to deal with. Now, I'm telling you all these signs so that you can examine yourself and see what are the experiences that you are having, so that you can be able to pray the prayer correctly. Are you getting it now? Because we are going to be talking about the danger, the consequences of having a spiritual husband. A spiritual husband or a demonic husband is not to be had. You don't need a spiritual husband. You don't need it. There are some people that are enjoying it on earth. They are not good at all, because when you know the consequences of what they are doing in your life, you will not want them to have any access to your life again. Number 7, when you are having sexual intercourse or successive sexual intercourse with a strange man or woman by the seaside in the dream. This time around, when you dream, in your dream, you always have sexual relationship with a man beside the sea, or with a woman beside the sea. Any man who has sexual relationship with a woman, he always say, I was having sexual relationship with a woman that look at it's a lie. It's a lie of the devil. When a woman that take the spirit can take the image of somebody you know, so that you can be attracted to the person. It will take the image of somebody you admire. It can even take the image of a celebrity, so that you can admire and you'll be proud that you are having a sexual relationship. No, that the mission is just to steal your destiny and take your destiny to the spiritual world. So when you're having sexual relationship with a woman or a man beside the seaside, you are having sexual relationship with a spiritual husband or wife. So you have a spiritual husband or wife. If you are a lady and you are having dreams of regular sexual intercourse with your father, your brother, your girlfriend, or an unknown lady, that is the work of the sexual demon, otherwise known as spiritual husband, disguising to pollute you in your dream. You always have sexual relationship with your father, your brother, or even sometimes you have sexual relationship with your mother or your friend. You may be a lady still having sexual relationship with a lady in the dream. It is a sign that you have a spiritual husband. You may be a man having sexual relationship with a man in the dream. It is a sign that you have a spiritual wife. Or you are having sexual relationship with your mother in the dream. It's a sign that you have a spiritual husband. So with this message, you are going to be able to deal with them. Like I said, don't forget, the book is available so that you can read it yourself. It's loaded. So you will get much more from what I'm saying here from the book. Number 9 signs of having a spiritual husband or a wife. When you see yourself getting pregnant regularly and giving birth in the dream with no signs of physical pregnancies. You dream in the night, you always see yourself pregnant, and you have your children in the dream, and you see a husband that looks like a husband in the dream. And in the physical world, you are not married. In the physical world, you are not you have no husband, not even a fiancé. But you see your children display, a husband being displayed in the spiritual world. It means you have a spiritual husband. It is a spiritual husband that is impregnating you in those dreams and that is allowing you to have those children. Number 10, not being able to bear children in the physical world or in the real world, but having many children in display in the spiritual world. Some people are married in the physical world, but they don't have children. But now in the spirit world, they have several children. It's a sign that you have a spiritual husband that has been oppressing you and has put you into big trouble. Number 11 signs of a spiritual husband or wife in a life. Successive business failure. When your business began to fail, you will invest little, you will get invest much, you will get nothing. You will invest, you will get nothing. It's a sign that you have a spiritual wife. If you have not prayed, the spiritual wife will continue to torment you. You are going to know who a spiritual wife is and how they operate, so that you can be able to understand, how can I have a spiritual husband? After all, I'm a Christian. Yes, you can have a spiritual husband even though you are a Christian. You can have a spiritual, as a matter of fact, if on the 99% of all undelivered Christian have spiritual wife. Christian lady, undelivered Christian lady that have not been delivered, they have spiritual wife, husband, excuse me. Not 99% of all undelivered Christian brothers, they have a spiritual wife. They may not talk about it because the experience are not experience that we usually share or talk about. But I pray that the Lord will help you. If you want to go forward, you need to pray your way into breakthrough through this message. Now, number 12, late marriage or no marriage at all. When anybody has a spiritual husband, he will never get a husband in the physical world here, or the spirit will delay that lady from having a husband. Number 13 signs of having a spiritual husband: hatred for the opposite sex. When you have a passionate hatred for the opposite sex, there are some ladies, they just don't like men. They don't like men. If it is possible for them to be married to women, they will go ahead and do that. It is because they have a spiritual husband. They have a spiritual husband who usually has sexual relationship with them in the dream. So that one influences them and controls them. So they don't want to marry. They don't like men at all. So also there are some women. So also that there are some men who do not like women. Like I said the other time, the testimony of that brother who said that a prayer warrior, a leader of a prayer warrior in the church who is having a spiritual husband, a spiritual wife, coming to have sexual relationship with him during the day. And he said that he's not going to marry. He doesn't need a wife. He has not dealt with the spirit that is controlling him. He is leading a prayer in the church. Number 14. Another sign of having a spiritual husband is strange lust or desire for sexual acts without considering who is involved in the act. Now, when you have strange lust or strange desire for the opposite sex, or desire to have sexual relationship, unusual desire, without even thinking who is involved. Some people can have sexual relationship with animal, goats. They can have relationship with dog. That person have a spiritual husband that is tormenting the person. When a man desires to begin to sleep with animal because of sexual desire, it is because the person have a spiritual wife manipulating his life to go ahead and do the abominable, so as to bring the consequences of having a spiritual husband or wife into his life. You need to get the book, please, so that you can be able to read the book itself. And because I talked about so many things there, I said here that they don't care whether the person is good, bad, ugly, or too young or too old. They can even go as far as having sexual intercourse with animal. That is the work of the sexual of the demonic injection of demonic deposit transfer into the body. So when there's a demonic deposit in the body of a man or a woman, they will just remote control it, and the person will begin to desire to sleep with any being. It doesn't matter whether the person is a human being or animal. It is the operation of the spirit husband or wife. Number 15. Now, all those practicing homosexualism or lesbianism have a spiritual wife or husband. Anyone who is into lesbianism or homosexualism, they have a spiritual husband and spiritual wife in their life. That is why they are influenced, controlled to do that. Number 16 signs of having a spiritual husband or wife. When you suddenly develop serious and unjustified hatred for your spouse. Now you are married. You just see that suddenly, often and often, you just develop hatred for your husband. Or you are a woman, or you are a man. You just develop hatred for your wife for no reason. Unjustified hatred. It is the sign that you have a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife in your life. Now, number 17 signs of having a spiritual husband or a wife in a life. Some people can lie. Some ladies, they are very good in lying. Some may not understand why they lie. They are just good in lying. Some lady can lie. It is the operation of spiritual husband. It is the operation. They don't care. They will have lied, and it's like a natural thing. It is because the spiritual husband has deposit, what we call demonic deposit, into their body that activates himself and has become a demonic animal in the body that tell them, do this, lie. Lie, it's not you. They will just lie. Because anytime you have sexual relationship with a demonic being, it's what we call spiritual transfer. To influence the lady to lie or influence a man to lie. What are some other signs of having a spiritual husband? I said some of other signs here: sudden fear, you just fear, always afraid of everything. Number 19, chronic addiction to pornography. When somebody has a spiritual husband or wife, he would love to watch pornographic film. Yes, or any X-rated film, any film that is talking about immoral act. Anyone who asks, when you are having masturbation, every time you love to masturbate, it's because you have a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife. Number 21 sign of having a spiritual husband or wife: procrastination of profitable invention. When there are projects that you want to accomplish in your life, you always procrastinate. I'll do it later. I will do it after. I will do it after. You have no project at all. It's a sign that you have a spiritual husband. When a life look like you don't have meaning to your life, it's a sign that a spiritual husband has actually damaged your organ through series of sex that we are having in the dream. It has damaged your organ, so your organ is no longer active to productivity. Chronic hardship is another sign that a person has a spiritual husband and wife. So some of you are experiencing chronic hardship. It may be that a spiritual deposit has been poured into your body. Evil delay, unnecessary delay in your life and ministry. Number 24, chronic poverty. It's another sign that you have a spiritual husband or wife. Restlessness. When you are restless, you are not comfortable. You are here, you are there, you are here, you are there. You just see that you cannot actually focus on one thing. It's a sign that you are having a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife. If you are a man, a spiritual wife. If you are a woman, a spiritual husband. So when you are restless, they call for business there, you are there. They call for anything there. Anything is happening, you are everywhere. There's a deposit in your body that is pushing you to do those things. Now, strange tumor in the reproductive organ of a woman or of a woman. When a woman has a tumor in the reproductive organ, they are the operation of spiritual husband. When the spiritual husband has sexual relationship, they deposit tumor in the body. So if one does not pray very hard, the person may not be able to overcome experiences of this nature. So you need to pray. Generally, tumor in the woman's body are the operation of spiritual deposit. Bedwetting. When a man or a woman bedwets, always urinate on the bed, even at your old age, is because you have a spiritual husband or wife. Number 28 signs of having a spiritual husband or wife: strange or bad body odor. Some people body odor, they have body odor, whether man or woman. It is because they have a spiritual husband or wife. Now, another signs that somebody have a spiritual husband is number 29 signs is loss of memory. There's nothing they tell you, you just forget. That's a sign that the person have a spiritual husband. You always forget things, you always lose memory. Things happen in the past, you just forget. I can't remember. Even if it is something that is beneficial that will help you to move forward, I can't remember. And that's why you see some children or youth, they are not intelligent in school. It's because the spiritual husband has taken away their memory, or spiritual wife has taken away their memory. Another thing is brain dullness. The brain will be very dull, not very active, because of evil deposit of the spiritual husband. Consistent desire to hurt others. When a person, you just desire to hurt other people, or you want to do bad things to other people, there are signs that the person have a spiritual husband. Divorce or constant threat of separation in marriage. When you always tell your wife, okay, I will divorce you, I will divorce you, I will divorce you, or the woman want to divorce your husband, tell her, I will divorce you, I will leave you. They are saying that spiritual husband is operational in that marriage or in the life of the parties in marriage. The presence of terminal or strange diseases in the body. When you have a terminal disease, a disease that can kill you, a disease that can kill a person, it just began to manifest or develop in the body. Diseases that develop in the body are as a result of the body deposit. Praise the Lord. So like I said, if the presence of terminal or strange diseases in the body are another signs that a person have a spiritual husband or wife. We'll be talking more about this after. Now, number 34 signs, another 34 signs of having a spiritual husband is evil or strange marks in the body during sleep or after dreaming. You dream in the night and you wake up, or you sleep in the night, you wake up and you see strange sign or mark or in your body. It won't be visible like a demonic presence. It's a sign that a spiritual husband is attacking you or a spiritual wife is attacking you. Constant depression. Constant depression, you are always depressed. Everything, you are just frustrated. Yeah, you are tired of this one, you are tired of that one, you are not nothing motivates you to do anything at all, because you do not just have appetite to accomplish things. It's because there is a deposit in your body. Or when you feel useless to yourself, or you feel useless to your life, and you see your life as not accomplishing anything, it's a sign of depression. Number 36 signs: ancestral spirit domination. You will see that there will be strange ancestral spirit attack on you, because the job of the spiritual husband or wife is to enforce spiritual covenants into the life of their victims. So when you see a strange attack of ancestral spirit on your life or your business or your family, there are signs that a spiritual husband is enforcing those activities in your life. So consistent failure. Anything you do, you fail. You put your hand in business, you fail. You go to school, you fail. Everything you do in your life, you just fail. There are signs that spiritual husband is operational in your life. Strange anger. When a person have very violent, strange anger, it's a sign that there is a evil deposit of spiritual husband in the person's life. It may be a woman who they just get angry over every issue. A man who get angry over every issue has a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife in his life. Or a woman who gets angry over every issue have a spiritual wife in his life. I'll quickly go to the next chapter. Problem